Hello and welcome to scripting tutorial number 14. In this tutorial I'm gonna show you more about events like I did in the last tutorial, but this time I'm gonna go a bit more in depth and I'm also gonna show you a few other events. Okay, so let's open the script. So we know the touched event then. As you can see, this script is inside the part, so we can use script.parent to get the part. Script.parent. Whoops, what's it frozen? Okay. Script.parent.touched connect. Remember to use that colon for connect and lowercase c for connect. Okay. And then we make our function. So this is the function that once someone touches a part, it calls this event, which calls this function, and whatever's inside the function will happen. So we know we can change different properties of a brick now, or we can do whatever we want once this event or function has been called. So what I'm going to talk to you about now is specifically about the touched function. What you can also do is, because it's the touched function, it gives you a parameter, and this, whatever you put inside here, it doesn't have to be hit. You can put whatever you want inside these parentheses, but whatever you do put inside here will be the part that has touched the other part, if you know what I mean. Let me just give you a demonstration. Let's print hit.name. Okay, so I'm going to show you what is actually happening here when you call this event inside this function that takes a parameter of hit, or it doesn't have to be called hit, you can call it whatever you want. If I called it hit, then I'd stick an extra s here, but I'm going to call it hit because it's what hit the brick that called the event. So we're going to print whatever hit the part here. So if my left leg touches this part, it will print the name of my left leg, which is left leg. So it should print the name of the part that touches this part. So let's go and play solo. It will make more sense once you use it more often. Let's wait for it to load. It's taking... Okay, so have a look at the output. When I touch this part here, it's going to... See that? Look, I've triggered the event many times, a couple of times with my right leg, 3 times with my left leg. So what the hit does is it takes the object that has touched this part here, and in this case the object is my left leg or right leg. If I were to drop my sword on it like that, it would display handle, because if we go into workspace we can see that it's the handle part inside the tool that touches this green block here. Okay, so what I could also do is, instead of printing the name of the part, that was just to show you what was actually hitting the part, I could modify whatever hits this part. So actually, let's do this. If we're going to start to use if statements inside here, I'm going to show you some more advanced basic sort of things that you can do with this hit bit here. So if hit.name is equal to let's say left leg, okay, if hit.name is equal to left leg, then we want to change the brick color. So script.parent.brick color equals brick color.new bright red. Okay, so if my left leg hits this part, then it should change to red. So let's go ahead and see. Okay, just waiting. Okay, so if my right leg touched the part, it's fine. As you can see, I'm touching the part of my right leg right now, and it's fine, it's not doing anything. But if my left leg goes and touches the part, it goes red. So yeah, you see how you can use that little awesome parameter that gets the object of whatever has touched this part, and that's all it does really. You don't have to have this parameter when using the touched function. Now remember, this only works with the touched function, this hit. I mean, there are different parameters for different events. I mean, some events don't take parameters, some events do. It depends what event you're doing. But with the touched function, it returns the object that touched the part. So, and we can give a name to this object. We need to store this object in a variable, so it's like an object variable. And it's called hit, and all we've got to do is use the dot notification to take the name of the object, so hit.name, and now we can start modifying the name. We could modify whatever we want with the object. We can do hit.brickcolor. We could change the size of the thing that hit it, so hit.size. So about object variables, I haven't actually shown you what one is yet. Let me just give you an example. Let's make a variable called part. Now variables, we can set it to any value we want. If it equals 5, we can set it equal to p's. We can set it to equal to whatever we want. But what if we set it equal to an object? Now you know how to set a variable equal to an integer value, which is just any number, whole number. You know how to set it to a boolean, which is true or false, and also a string, which is just anything inside these quotation marks. You can make symbols, whatever you want, numbers, and anything. But what about objects? So let's go ahead and make it equal to an object. Part equals script.parent. Now, this variable here now, which is now an object variable, it's called part, and the value inside it is this part here. So instead of doing this now, script.parent transparency equals 0.5, instead of doing this now, we can do part.transparency, because this part is now equal to script.parent. Okay, so it equals 0.5. So we've got the object here. We've got the variable object here, object variable. We've set it equal to script.parent, which is this part here. So now this part variable is equal to this part object in the workspace. So we can change whatever property we want from it now. We can go ahead and say part.transparency equals 0.5, and let's click play, and it's gone transparent by 0.5. Okay. Now another good thing we can do with this is we can say part.touched. We can actually call the touched event from this object variable. So let's go ahead and go part.touched connect function end. Okay, and because it's a touched function, we can give it a parameter of p. Let's call it p this time. So whatever touches this part now, we can change the value. We can change any property of this part. Okay, by using p dot whatever property you want to change. Okay, so you know what object variables are now. It's just a variable which stores an object, as in part. It can store a humanoid, it can store a spawn, it can store anything. It's an object variable. It can store anything. So we've called the event from this object variable, which contains script.parent. So doing this is basically the same as writing script.parent.touched, but instead we wrote part.touched because we've assigned part to script.parent. Okay, so we've connected it, we've called the function, we've passed in a parameter of with the name of p. So this parameter is also an object variable, and we can, but it's the variable which it contains. I'm stuttering now. Yeah, this p here will contain whatever touches this part. So if my right leg touches this part, then this variable here, p, will be equal to my right leg. So we can change my right leg's transparency to 0.5, okay? But I'm wearing, hold on. Let's go ahead and play solo. So just wait for it to load. Come on. Okay, loading. Good, come on. Right, now, whatever touches this green part here will go transparent now. Okay, so if my right leg touches it, it will go transparent. Now, because I'm wearing trousers or pants, however you call it, you won't actually see it because my trousers will be blocking it. Let's go ahead and remove it. So pants, delete pants. Good. Now, let's go ahead and touch this part with my right leg. Oh, look at that, my right leg's gone transparent. Now let's go touch it with my left leg. My left leg's gone transparent as well. Okay, so you understand now how it works. That won't go transparent because it's got a mesh. But, actually no, it's gone slightly transparent. Yeah. Okay, so you see how it works now. It takes whatever touches it and sticks it into a variable, and then you can change the properties of it. This parameter can be whatever you want. You can call it whatever you want. I prefer to call it hit because it's what hit the part. It's kind of logic, but you can call it whatever you want. Now, remember the other version of creating events, yeah. So there's another way of making events, just by writing the function. You've got to give this one a name though, because you're not directly linking the event to it. So let's call it untouched, because it makes most sense. And let's give it parameter then of hit. So you see, you can also give this one a parameter, but you've got to let's do part.touched colon connect untouched. So you see, when you're calling the event, you've got to also call the function, but you've got to use the name of the function when calling the event. If you do it like this, like you write the function first, then you call the event at the bottom. So that's how you do it. It gives the same parameter, so you can use hit.transparency. You can do whatever you want to the hit as well. It does the same thing. So now I'm going to show you another sort of event. It's clicking on bricks. Now, a part doesn't contain the clicked event. So if you go to Help Object Browser, go to scroll down to Part, and scroll down to the events, which are the yellow lightning bolts. You can see that there's no clicked event. There's touched, but there's no clicked. So you're probably wondering, how do people get you to click parts in games then? Well, that's simple. Using a click detector. So, am I giving you too much information in this tutorial for you to take in? I don't know. Let's go down to Insert, Basic Objects, Click Detector. Okay, so you can see Click Detector here. This is the last bit of information that I'm going to give you in this tutorial though. So, you can just practice with what I've taught you this tutorial as well. So, we've clicked the part. We're going to insert the click detector into the part. Okay, so the click detector is inside this part. That's good. Now, you can change properties of the click detector, like how far you have to be to click it. If you want the person to be really close when they click it, just change it to something really low. If you want them to click it from really far away, you can change it to a high value, and that's all that this property does. So let's change it to 50 or something like that. So I think this is measured by studs as well. So if you're 50 studs away, like studs as in these little square things, if you're 50 of them away from this brick, you'll be able to click it. So now let's go and edit it. To activate this click detector function or event, you've got to do this: script.parent dot click detector dot clicked connect. I think that's the event. I haven't used click detector in a long time. Let me just check by going to Help Objects, go to Click Detector, find it, and you can find the name of the event. So here we go, Click Detector. Here we go. The event is mouse click. Now you can also do you can use different events like mouse hover enter. So if you hover over the brick, then it will trigger the event. And if your mouse leaves the brick, so you're hovering over it like this, like that. If your mouse leaves the brick, then that's another event as well. So it's not clicked, it's mouse click, connect, function. Now remember, your click detector has to be inside the part for it to work. So function, end. Now, I also want to show you this. Go to Object Browser, Click Detector. You've noticed if I click on mouse click here, the event here, it gives you all the details of the event, so it gives you what parameters you can use as well. As you can see, in this instance, it gives you the parameter of player who clicked. So, it will give you the player who clicked the brick. So if I add a parameter into here called, let me just call it player, because it's the player who clicked it. What will happen here is script.parent.clickDetector.mouseClick.connect. Once a player clicks this brick, it will trigger this event, or to trigger this function, and we've got a parameter here called player. We can change the player's properties. So if you go to Help Object Browser, find Player. Now there is two. There's one called Players with an S on the end, and one just called Player. You just want the player one. You can change all these properties of the player. So the name of the player, although I wouldn't really do that. The team color of the player, so what team the player's in. So say they click the brick, you can change the team of the player to something like red if they click the brick. So you can do all sorts of things with the player, but you can also change the properties of the part if they click the click detector. So script.parent.brick color equals brick color dot new bright red. I don't want this tutorial to go on for too long, but it is interesting, so you shouldn't mind. Let's test play solo. Okay, so you understand different parameters now you can use in events. It's just that the event passes through the parameter and you can use it within the function. So in this case, I'm just going to click the brick and it should turn red. So let's click it and it's turned red. So you can see how click detector works now. And so yeah, now you know how the click function works, or click event, the touched event works. So you know how all these things work now. So you will be able to use them in games. So also what we need to do is experiment with things like this. So click detector that mouse click connect. So say if player.name equals, when you're playing in solo, the player name will be called player1, then end. So you can do sorts of things like when you're making a game, you can do things like this. If player.name equals peacepod, so we've got the player parameter here, we've passed it in here, so we're now editing the player object here. So if player.name, if the name of the player who clicked the click detector is equal to peacepod, then we can change the brick color, or we can do whatever we want inside there. So this is also good for doing things like this. So if you're in a game, you can make it so that only certain people can click this brick, so that maybe only the owner of the game can click the brick, or only certain people can click the brick. So you can also have multiple people clicking it. So you can say if player.name equals peacepod, or player.name equals let's change it to, I don't know, Shedlet Ski. So if peacepod or Shedlet Ski clicks the brick, or player.name equals Reese McBlocks, let's change it to her. Okay, so if either one of these three people clicks the brick, then it's going to do whatever is inside this if statement. So you remember using the logical operators or in the previous tutorials. So that's the sort of thing you can do with events and if statements and everything that I've taught you previously. So yeah, everything I've taught you previously, just keep experimenting with it all. Just try and mush it all together into one big script, everything that I've taught you, and see what you can do. It's always useful to see what you can do with all these things. It gets you a lot of practice and you just get better at it. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to be going over its functions, but it's not the functions which I've been teaching you previously. it's a different type of functions. It's like certain object functions, which I'm going to be teaching you next. So yeah, I'll see you in the next tutorial then. Bye.